Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ohio State at Primetime at the Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Garrison Gaddy. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Of course, if you would like to join and become a member of the channel and see some of the content that we have been coming up this fall during the football season, interviews and such things, hit that join button. Check out the tiers that we have. Sorry about that. That'd be JT Wasn't Short, the Black Gold Club, and also We Don't Give a Damn, and you know the rest. Also, if you haven't already, everyone, if you'd like to read articles such as I do, I also I write for the channel, the network right now. Go ahead and check out our website at www.vocfb.com. There, where we have writers right on there every day. You can also check out other channels that we have and the schedule, the hosts that we have, all of our just anything you need, whether it be our Instagrams, Facebooks, X accounts, it's all there for you at vocfb.com. Also, if you are not able to check us out here live on YouTube, we are also on Spotify and on Apple, just in case you'd like to watch the audio, just in case you don't want to see my ugly face here and there. I completely understand it, everyone. You can go ahead and do that. So today's show, we're going to be going over PFF's All-Americans and the Buckeyes that are on there, also deep diving into Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. Also going into next after that, we're going to talk about fall camp schedule and what players to watch for this upcoming fall. At least the players that I want to watch for. Then also would love to hear what you guys think about the players that we have. Then we'll be doing a pre-fall camp schedule breakdown, going through some of the games that we have, some of the weaker ones, some of the bigger ones that we have, and some of the more interesting ones. And then finishing it off with something that I've kind of stayed away from on X when I saw it, but I do want to talk about Jack Sawyer's comments on on the Wolverines' rise over the last few years. But again, let's start with PFF's All-American list. On there for the preseason, you'll find Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, and new tight end out of transfer portal, Max Clare. Now, me personally, if I had to guess any of the guys that would be All-Americans, those are the ones I would choose. I would also, at least those are the guys I would say that are surefire ones. Max Clare may be kind of hard because he is, it's a big room. There's also a lot of tight ends in the country. Even guys like Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon who are going to get the ball probably a little bit more than he does. So I could see that. But I want to start here. And shout out to Max Shadwick, who was on the channel last Monday. If you haven't already, everybody, please go check that out. It was a great interview with him. I'm going to talk some about Ohio State ball with him and see what the numbers say about the Buckeyes through PFF. But on there, and they talked about it on the PFF College Football Show. The two best players in the country to them, and I agree also, number one, Caleb Downs, and then number one, Jeremiah Smith, and then number two, Caleb Downs, coming into this season. And both of them are PFF's preseason All-American Offensive Player of the Year, and Caleb Downs for the Defensive Player of the Year, which I also think would be my choices. So a few things I want to say about Caleb Downs and just what I'm expecting from him this season, why I think what's so good about him, what's so important about him. And these are things I took down for you all. So first off, Downs is the fourth player to be. He's the fourth player to be a top returning player at their position for multiple seasons on PFF. The other three, Derek Stingley Jr., Trevor Lawrence, and Brock Bowers, three elite players. One tight end, one quarterback, one corner. I really think that Caleb Downs, and I had a conversation with someone else. I think it was last night or earlier today. I lose track of that sometimes, but it was yesterday. And it was a list. I saw the best players at each position since 2020, right? And Caleb Downs was there, and they were arguing me up and down why Caleb Downs shouldn't be on there, and they said he only had 2 interceptions. But mind you, Mike Doss, who we're actually going to briefly talk about here in a little bit, Mike Doss, he only had 2 picks in his set. And when Mike Doss went back-to-back a unanimous All-American, that second season, he only had 2 interceptions. And so I think I think people sometimes they try to stat watch, and I think stat watching defensive backs is one of the dumbest things you can do in sports. I think it's a low IQ conversation in football. Not saying that person's like low IQ. I think Chill has I think he knows football pretty well, but you look at Caleb Downs and what he does on that field. The guy he's just elite. He's everywhere. He's the quarterback of that defense, and I think that one of the biggest things that for a guy like Matt Patricia, who's coming in this season as a new defensive coordinator, and though we did bring back damn near all the coaches, Lee Allen Clark was technically an assistant, but he did coach also. But you have all those guys, but you bring them back, and you're a new defensive coordinator, and your job right now is who's the guy that I can trust to make sure that guys are in the right position, in the right spots to be the best players that they can be. Who can help me do that? And I think Caleb Downs is that guy, especially at that safety position. Now, of course, we can look at Sonny Styles, the linebacker. He's gonna have definitely have his part in that front seven. But I think Caleb Downs, who's been seen as, if not the one of the smartest players in college football, I think that's where he ties in. And I think a guy like Matt Patricia has to be very excited about that coming into this season. I think that when people talk about the defense and how it could struggle, which I could see also, I do think that Caleb Downs is the guy that can kind of cure that ailment, so to speak. Also, I would say this. I think Caleb Downs, we've had some great safeties at Ohio State. Of course, Mike Doss, two-time unanimous All-American. Weirdly, he never won the Thorpe Award, which I think is preposterous. Malik Hooker, just a lot of great safeties that came to Ohio State. I think Caleb Downs is the next one. But I truly do believe, though, if he's able to secure that second, and I have no reason to believe that he won't. If he's able to secure that second time or that two-time unanimous All-American, I do think you then start to put him up in that conversation with Mike Doss as the best safety at Ohio State in Ohio State history. No other safety has done that at Ohio State. It would only be him and Mike Doss. I mean, if he wanted to be called the best, I mean, if he were to go out there and win a Thorpe Award, I think then he would have a conversation in being such. I mean, they both have national championships. I think it's just the second year. You want to see what Caleb Downs can do. Now with that, let's lead into Jeremiah Smith. Now let's flat out put it this way: he is the best football player in college football. I don't believe there's anyone at their position, at their respective position, that is as good as he is at his own position. Now, coming out of high school, you can imagine how hard it is for a young man like him to have that much hype and to sit here and, not let it get to his head and continue to work and to continue to grind. But I do think that, but there are things he can work on, right? So one of the things that I think that Jeremiah's going to have to work on this season in order to be the best that he can be. And also, he also said that he is not where he wants to be right now. And I think that, and you want to hear that of a guy like him. Excuse me. I made some olive vodka pasta today. I made I made a bunch of 4-inch meatballs. So I'm trying not to burp right now. So I apologize. Drinking some water right now. But I think coming out last year, and he's really good at route running. Even Garrett Wilson, when he made his perfect Ohio State wide receiver for route running, he chose Jeremiah. So he has that. He has the ability to go up and get the ball. He has great hands. He has a great catch radius. But there's still other things that he has to work on. One of the reasons why I've said that, though I believe him to be the most talented Ohio State wide receiver of all time, I don't believe for him to be the best. I look at things like for Marvin Harrison Jr. in 2023 when Emeka Egbuka was in and out for the whole season, and he had a first-time quarterback in Cal McCord, and teams knew where the ball was going. Everyone knew the ball was going to Marv. They would bracket him, double team him, triple team him the same way they do Jeremiah, but he was always open. He was always open, and I think that's the area in where Jeremiah is going to have to work on. And I think that's the biggest thing he's going to have to work on. And he also did talk about things like where he's not getting the ball, not letting it get to his head, like he said it happened in the Texas game. But he's a young guy. I think that's pretty normal. And then but the main thing I think he has to work on is consistency and blocking. And it's not to say that he's a bad blocker. I think Jeremiah is pretty good at it, actually, but he has to be more consistent at that, especially coming to this new year where you have new running backs. You want to be able to give them the ability to bust it outside, especially a guy like James Peoples, who I think I said that I believe he's going to average over 6 yards a carry this season. I think that he's explosive. I'm really looking forward to see what he can do. But when you're looking at as a wide receiver, because it is such a dependent position, what are the areas like for wide receiver trying to look at where are the areas and where I can improve and where guys the guys are depending on me. And I think that as a wide receiver, when guys are trying to when we want to get you that ball, how are you going to get open in double teams and triple teams and brackets? When we need to run the ball, are you going to go out there and drive that safety, drive that corner 10 yards back? You look back at some of the blocks that Emeka Egbuka had. And actually, go look at how Cardinal Tate blocks. Those guys are elite blockers as wide receivers, and so I think I could imagine that he is going to work on that. Even Jeremiah said before, no block, no rock. So yeah, really, I think those are the two areas that he really needs to work on coming into this season. But I think if he does those things, those will solidify him as the best player in college football. Or he's already the best wide receiver. But I think those two things will really help him out there. Because outside of that, everybody, I think his game is pretty much complete. Now he might tell you different, and he should. He should. At the end of the day, I think I know football pretty well, but I'm also a fan, and so I can't help myself. But now also like this upcoming season, do I believe that Jeremiah is going to win the Heisman? I would lean on no. And the reason is because first off, he's a wide receiver, and it's really hard for wide receivers to win the Heisman. And also, I think there's a chance that he might not have the season that everybody thinks he's going to have. Right now, I think it's going to be better than last season, or in terms of the first 12 games of the season. But there's a chance that it might not happen. The reason is because it's not any fault of his own. I don't think it would be any fault of Brian Hartline, of Julian Sand, of Ryan Day. I think it's because of what else is around him in terms of guys like Cardinal Tate, Max Clare, Brandon Ennis, Mylan Graham, Quincy Porter, Bryson Rogers. I think Bryson's going to near the field this season. I know a lot of people want to be down on him, but I'm not. I think he's definitely still going to be able to get on the field. Excuse me, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But I think that's the only reason why he wouldn't win the Heisman. But if he were to, right? In 2023, they said before Ryan Day said before JSN got hurt, a third of that of the pass plays were meant for Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now, I actually do think it's somewhere around the same for Jeremiah this season. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think anybody should be surprised by that. But if he is, I think he at least needs 10 targets a game. And I also don't think 10 targets will be crazy. I do think that there's a lot of guys on the team, such as Mylan Graham, such as Quincy Porter and Cardinal Tate, who can take the outside position on the X and Y positions, and that allows him to get in the inside and they can get the ball to him. Julian Sand has a quick release. I do think that they're going to try and get the ball out of Julian's hands quickly this year. He was being a first-time quarterback. So, yeah, if it were to happen, I do think that's the only way it would. Now, real quick before we finish this segment, the other two guys on here, Max Clare, they had him at tight end, St. X out of Cincy guy. Last year at Purdue, 4 touchdowns, 685 yards. I do think that he's kind of he's the X factor, I think, on this offense this season. I do think that he might unlock something for this team, especially because I think it's going to be almost impossible for guys to bracket Jeremiah this year. You're not going to be able to do that or do what Texas did and keep 3 people over him. And then at the same time, account for Cardinal Tate, account for Brandon Ennis, and then you have Max Clare out there. So really looking forward to seeing what they can do with him. And then the fourth guy, Sonny Styles, linebacker, 49 tackles last year, 100 total, 6 sacks, forced fumble also. Last year was his first year playing linebacker. I also think people forget that Sonny Styles reclassified coming out of high school. He was 17 years old when he got on campus at Ohio State. So, first year at linebacker last year, I think James Laird-Nice has done an exceptional, actually great job with Sonny. And by the looks of it, Sonny Styles is going to be the third or fourth linebacker taking this upcoming draft, maybe better. The only guy I can think is better than him is Hill out of Texas. But at least by that time. But he's a freak athlete. And I think that Sonny is due for a great year. I thought last year, he started a little bit slow, but as the year went on, especially in the playoffs, he became a complete monster. So yeah, again, Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, both of them player of the years that they're on the offensive and defense side. Also, they are the number 1 and 2 players on PFF's top players list, which is the first time that has ever happened for a program. Max Clare and Sonny Styles make up there also. So finally, going to get through these comments. First off, Sage, Ohio. Hello, Buckeyes. Good to see you, Sage. Jam, good to see you in too, girl. Thankfully, we can make it in here. Rob Barber, what's up, all? What's up, Rod? How you doing, man? Good to see you too, bro. Oh, I'm a little backed up here. Day 1K, my guy, what is going on? Good to see you, bro. What's the word? Hey, what's the word, bro? The word is we back up, man. But hey, bro, listen, man. Football season's on its way. Like in the next segment here, we're going to talk about fall camp, and I'm very excited to talk about it because I think the Buckeyes have a lot going for them. I'm really excited to talk about some of these Buckeyes in this fall camp. Richie, what's going on, bro? Buckeyes with we the chance, man. Richie's in the chat, everybody. Daniel Henry, OHIO. See, safety Mount Rushmore. It's Mike Doss, Malik Hooker, Von Bell, Caleb Downs. And I would have Caleb Downs fourth in that list, but if Caleb Downs gets that second unanimous All-American, I'm then gonna put him in the conversation with Mike Doss for who's number 1. Let me see. See, Richie says Hooker, Tatum, then Doss. See, Rod. I can click on it. There we go. It says Tatum, Doss, Whitner, Hooker. I'll tell you what, one of my most underrated Ohio State players of all time, he's the safety, is Dustin Fox. I was a huge fan of Dustin Fox as a kid. Let me see. Day 1 says Jenkins, Downs, Doss, Hooker. Yep. See, damn, Jenkins, yeah, I don't mind that one. I don't mind it. Trees, hello, my fellow Buckeyes. What's going on with you? Good to see you in here also. See, David Greenshield. David Greenshield. I don't know why I couldn't say that correctly, David. I apologize for that. He says Damon Moore, Dante Whitner were awesome. Yes, they were. They definitely were. Like I said, Ohio State, man, when it comes to DBs, we're spoiled. Let's just be honest here. Let's be honest. See, day 1, I'm going to talk about Jeremiah. Says 1,800 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 11-12 wins. He wins it. If he gets to 1,800, 14, I'm going to be honest, day 1. If he gets to 1,800 yards, I'm expecting somewhere around like 16 to 17 touchdowns out of him. And if he does that, I think the nation is going to give it to him. I really do. We're going to leave this here. Go Buckeyes, baby. The defending national champions. Yes, we are. I was talking to some guys the other day. I said, if Ohio State were to go back-to-back, because let's be honest here, like I'm 32 years old. I have seen just about anything you could possibly see as an Ohio State fan. I've seen national championships in the BCS era. I've seen a national championship in the playoff era twice. I've seen a Heisman. I've seen a bunch of All-Americans. I've seen top defenses, top offenses. I have never seen a back-to-back. No one really has. Not a lot of programs to go back-to-back. But if I were to see that, man, I'm telling generational lies. I mean generational. Man, it says send Maniac the link. The link to what? Oh, good God, dude. No. That temper tantrum baby can stay out of here. But but yeah, man. So let's get to the. By the way, everyone, if you're just jumping in here, please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, if you want to contribute here monetarily, that is awesome. But the only thing we ask of you here is to hit that like button. It goes a long way, and we're truly appreciative of it. So again, let's get to some fall camp talk. Again, football season it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner, and I'm really excited to see what comes out of this. Now, by the way, if you are in Ohio, if you are in Columbus, everybody, they are selling tickets for the practice open to the fans at the Woody Hayes Center, July 31 through August 2nd, so 4 days. Wait, 4 days. So, and after that, practice is closed. It's closed. I think only the media will be able to, and there's only a certain time the media will be able to in certain hours. I think it's somewhere between 9 and 10 a.m. Excuse me, my goodness, I shouldn't have had all that pasta. Yeah, I think the practice starts around 9:15 for everybody that will like to go. So yeah, just want to put that out there. I know we have, unlike me, I'm not in the state, or in the city, so I'm not really able to, but that work. But yeah, if you would like to go there, it's right there for you. I think they said it was all 750 tickets that you can only buy up to 10. So yeah, go do that. But fall camp is around the corner, and when it comes to spring talk, I like it because you want the content, you want to see it, you want to know what's going on with the team. But this is where we get to the nitty gritty. This is where you see real football being played. I'm really interested to see a few players, or at least hear about some players. And would love to know also who are the people that you want to hear from or hear about this upcoming fall camp before the season starts. But I'm going to start first with Jalen McClain and Malik Hartford, two young safeties. Malik has been here for 3 years now, actually, but actually got a lot of playing time in 2023. But I really want to know how that shapes out. Who's next to Caleb Downs? If I had to guess right now, I'd say Jalen McClain. I do think Jalen McClain is better at coverage, but Malik Hartford is a bigger athlete. I think he's more of a thumper kind of guy. Will come out down and hit your running backs. Can really stick with the tight ends, but I think sometimes he struggles in coverage. We didn't see him a lot last year, but again, I do think that I think these are two valuable choices we can make out of these two guys. But I really want to know who's out in camp, who's showing out, who's making the better plays, who the coaches think gives them the best opportunity to win games. And again, when you have a guy like Caleb Downs out there, you're going to have a lot of help. And I think that helps Matt Patricia when he's bringing in somewhat of a new defense, because Ryan Day did say he wants to run the Buckeye defense. So we are still going to run that 4-2-5 with a little bit of variance and bring in what Matt Patricia likes to do, but with multiple, specifically out of 3-4. But yeah, that safety spot, I think that's a big topic at hand. Next, I want to hear about Bryce West. I think Bryce West is a top 3 athlete on this team. I think he's the best athlete in the secondary spot, in the secondary. Right now, I think Lorenzo Styles is going to start that nickel spot, and I do believe that he should. Early last year, it was easy to catch on that the coaches trusted Lorenzo Styles, but I think what's really important is finding out who is that guy behind him, especially when you want to be able to rotate corners. And I think Bryce West is one of those guys that you could put anywhere in that secondary. If you want to put him on the outside, he can do it. We saw it against Tennessee. If you want to put him on the inside, he can do that. I think if you want to put him back at safety, he could do that also. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing about Bryce West. Again, one of my favorite players on this team that we haven't really seen yet, but I think he is due for I wouldn't call it a breakout year, but I do think that he is going to. A lot of people are going to learn his name, and then going into the next seasons when I think he's going to be a household name in Columbus. Not that he already is. I mean, he's a Glenville kid, right? The next one, Will Smith Jr., the son of the late great Will Smith. national champion on the 2002 team and longtime defensive tackle for the New Orleans Saints. There's been some good things rumbling about him, I really, and also, I mean, in my interview with me and Mike, Clean Mike, from the World Famous Buckeye show with Terry on Wednesdays at 7:30. Make sure to check that out, everybody. But there's been some rumblings about him. Luke Montgomery also said that he had a good spring, so I really want to see what happens with him coming into this fall and see if he's actually made that progress. If you actually on our lands where they have they do projected depth charts, he is actually the third and fourth guy, the second string guy on their depth chart there that they have, which makes sense. I mean that's jumping Jason Moore. And I actually would have had him on here, but I think Will Smith is the guy to talk about right now. I think it's important to talk about him because there's been rumblings about him. There's been a lot of positive talk about him lately. So yeah, I really want to see that because that defensive tackle spot needs to get solidified. I'm very confident in Caden McDonald and Edric Houston, those two Georgia boys. I think that they are going to be fine this season. But we need one more. I just need one more defense. I just need one tackle outside those guys to show up, because I think if that happens, that defensive line is going to be really nasty this season. Next guy. Whoa. I think am I here? Can you guys hear me? Whoa. Hello. All right. I'm not sure what happened right there. Sharice, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Holy crap. That was crazy. Now, let's just make sure. Everybody, are we good here? Okay. Thank you, Jam. Woo. Hey, Mike. Come on, bro. I don't know. Maybe there's someone going out around here saying, "Oh, there's a Buckeye fan in the state of Michigan. They're trying to screw me up right now." But we back though. We back. Exactly. We good right now. There we go. Now, let's move on from Will Smith. I think I started to talk about Quincy Porter before I oddly froze right there. But Quincy Porter, I think that he is someone that should be looked at this fall because, like I said earlier, when it comes to Jeremiah Smith, I do think that he allows. I think that he allows Jeremiah to move around the field, along with guys like Mylan Graham and Cardinal Tate. But I think we're going to see him a lot this season. I think it's going to be almost impossible to keep him on the field, kind of like a Devin Sanchez. Sometimes when you hear the hype, sometimes you want to temper your thoughts, but sometimes you should just believe it. And I think that he's one of those guys that we should believe the hype in. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do this season. I think that Quincy Porter by next season is going to be a starter, or it's going to be hard because we have Mylan. It's going to be hard, but I think Quincy Porter is definitely be one of those guys that's in the rotation early in this, at least early in the season, because of course when we have Grambling State and Ohio. Those are the games you can get the young guys in. But I think by the time the end of the season comes, he's going to be a valuable choice to go to, and I'm really looking forward to him. I think Quincy Porter is that guy. I think he's all 6'4". He's probably about 190 pounds now. About so yeah, I can't wait to see what he can do on the field and look forward to seeing that. The next guy, and shout out to Terry, because I think Terry actually is a fans guy too. Logan George. Now for him, transfer guy, was a freshman last year. It's gonna be a step up in competition for him, but I believe in him. I think that it's because I watched his tape. I got to see his hand movement, got to see how his legs move. Also, I think that when you look at Logan George, what you're hoping for is this: you want a guy that can be rotational. You want a guy that can come in and give a bunch of energy and create havoc. Sometimes you don't need the stat sheet. You don't need this. You don't need the sacks. You don't need the tackles. Can you create havoc? And I think if Logan George can get on that field when Kenyatta needs to come out, if Bo Atkinson needs to come out, if Caden Curry is on the other side or needs to come out, if it's late in the game and you still want a team to score, can you go out there and make sure that team doesn't do that? One of my biggest pet peeves is allowing garbage time touchdowns. I hate it because at the end of the day, I do think that more times than not, Ohio State's second stringers, third stringers are better than a lot of guys' first and seconds too. So I think that's what we should look forward with him. Hopefully he can do that and be that. And then the last guy I'm gonna bring up is a guy that's from my neck of the woods, Gabe Van Sickle. Gabe was last year he was a Northwestern commit. Ended up decommitting there and coming to Ohio State. He's from Coopersville, Michigan. That's in West Michigan. But Coopersville is about probably 5-10 minutes from where I live. Very good player. I actually got to talk to some of the guys that I at South Christian High School where I play football. Go Sailors. Who I called on the radio games for my boy Bryce, and I got to talk to a few of the guys that played against him. They said, "Bro, he's a dog. Like he's huge. He's really athletic. And he's a dog. Like he's not like nice on the field." And I think that when it comes to Ohio State, when you talk about them wanting to rotate the offensive lineman more and find guys that can play in different positions, I think Gabe Van Sickle's can be that guy. You go to the spring game. There's a few plays in there where he had his way with Jason Moore, and when I see things like that, I'm like, oh well, it catches my eye. And again, spring ball. But in the trenches, I want to see, can you command that? Can you be aggressive? And that's exactly what he is. So yeah, those names again, guys. Jay McClain, Malik Harper. See what will happen between those guys. Logan George, Gabe Van Sickle, Quincy Porter, Will Smith Jr., and Bryce West. Now, before we continue, message here from the voice of college football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football. And let's discuss how you can also reach your target market. The voice of college football is a growing network with a large following, so let's find out how we can help you grow with us. Check out the experience of one of our current partners, that being Win Agency, posted here on the screen, and we are here to deliver for you. Contact us at sponsorships@bocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships@bocfb.com today. Let me get you some of these comments. I know I lost some before I got out of here. That was crazy. I don't know what happened. Like my phone's Wi-Fi is working. My other laptop is working right now. I think my Mac just crashed. Oh man. Let me see. Mike Garrison got love, man, for real. For real. Hey, shout out to Cleveland Mike, man. Those Cleveland boys different. They are different. Oh man. So let me get through it. And by the way, like I think that Ryan Day is also seeing right now. I think I don't know if Mike and I have talked about this, but I have on like probably about a few months ago. I think Ryan Day, what he's been good at is taking things from other coaches that coached at Ohio State and implementing them into what he does. And I think one of the things he's taking from Jim Tressel is you need to lock down that Cleveland area. Ohio State football is not Ohio State football without the Cleveland area. So I think the kids that the young men there in that area play fantastic and outstanding football. And I think that is they built. I think they're just built different there. I think Cleveland breeds people a little bit different than other places. So yeah, I definitely got love for Cleveland. Definitely. Let me see. Sharice says Garrison. Who do you think should be on Mount Rushmore for OSU running backs? I Sharice, I am very clear on this. I think there's only 4 options, and I will not discuss another. It's Archie Griffin, Eddie George, Ezekiel Elliott, J.K. Dobbins. Of course, for Archie Griffin, 2 Heismans, you can't keep him off of there. It is what it is. Eddie George, I think that Eddie's just different. Like I just it's hard for me to look at other running backs that come through Ohio State. Like I personally don't think Archie Griffin is a better. No, Archie Griffin's not a better running back than Eddie George. And, like I think Eddie George is possibly the best running back to ever come out of Ohio State. So it's probably either him or Zeke. Now I will. There's one name that I would possibly like entertain, and it's the one my dad would probably say, and that's Keith Byers. I could, if someone said Keith Byers, I would have no problem with that. I could definitely understand that. See, Richie, who did you say? Archie Byers. Yeah, see, I have no problem with that. Archie. Now, I will say this about Maurice. The only reason I can't have him on there, because if there was a spot for him, it would be the J.K. Dobbins spot. I can't leave off a guy who basically started since his freshman year and went for 2,000 yards. I can't do that. And then and then and also I'm looking at skill also. Like there's impact. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also looking at skill. I think J.K. Dobbins is one of the more skilled running backs to ever come out of Ohio State. But yeah, I'm not mad at that, Richie. I have no qualms with that. Let's see. Rod Farber says, here's the thing about OSU running backs. Archie and Eddie are obvious choices, but too many forget the other Heisman winning running backs because they are so many years ago. I'm guessing you, Rod. I'm guessing you would say someone like Hopalong Cassidy, and okay, I'm not mad at that because I think that's factual. I think people we tend to forget guys like that, and I'm someone who personally says I respect history, but I don't always have to care about it. But Hopalong Cassidy though is someone who I do revere. As a young kid, as an Ohio State fan, my dad told me about Hopalong Cassidy, talked him up a lot. So yeah, I understand that, and I like that. I like that. Yeah, we back though. We back. Dude, what did my face look like? I like someone describe it for like what did I look like? That was crazy. Like I really want to. By the way, I know sometimes like when I'm talking, my face is not the prettiest or not the handsomest, whatever you want to say. So yeah, Jam, we cut them off at Toledo. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Oh man. See, clean Mike. Mike said if you can't beat them, get your money. Ooh, boy, y'all are hilarious. I love y'all, man. Y'all funny. Y'all funny. See, Rob Barber says, I love Mylan Graham. Same here. Mike knows this. When it comes to spreading the Mylan Graham propaganda, I am number one. I will spread that propaganda better than Mussolini could. So yeah, I completely understand that. See, yeah, JK all day. That, but JK all day, JK 2K, whatever you want to name him, he's him. That dude is him. We got Wolverine fan D'Angelo here. He says, "Go Blue." Shout out to you, man. Listen, man, glad to have you here. Again, this is a networking channel for everybody. I hope you are subscribed to the Michigan channel with my guys, TJ, John, and Johnny. If you're not, go ahead and do that, D'Angelo. It's a great channel. It's the best Wolverine show you're gonna find on YouTube. I'm thinking, Pete Johnson. Everyone, Jam. I think we're gonna call you the Ohio State historian from here on out. That's what we're gonna do. That's a name out of nowhere. Screw Blue. Oh yeah, screw the bit. Like my boy Mike says, bitchereens. Let's see, D'Angelo. What was it? Garrison is a clown for saying Ohio State defensive ends are better than Michigan's. So, D'Angelo, here's the thing. What you should probably do next time is if you're going to comment on something I said, I think you should go ahead and actually maybe you should put the CC on there so you can read it. Maybe you should actually go back and listen to what I said. What I said was I believe both defensive end rooms are unproven, which is a fact. Talk to a few Wolverine fans that agree with me. I'm sorry that you think different, but that's just the fact. Most of your defensive end room is made up of redshirt freshmen and freshmen. On top of that, TJ Guy, I think is a good player, but he's a rotational guy. I think he would. All I said was Kenyatta Jackson Jr. would start over him, and that's a blatant fact. There's 132, 134 programs in college football. 133 of them are choosing Kenyatta Jackson Jr. over TJ Guy. I also did say Derek Moore is the best as of right now because I can't say without question that any of our defensive ends are better than Derek Moore. I can't say that today. But so I said that he would start over any of our guys right now. So again, I don't know what you're crying about. I don't know what you're lying about. But no, I never said that our defensive ends are better than yours today. And I think to say that would be dishonest, and that's not a good statement to make. So yeah, you said TJ. Yeah, bro, he's not. He's not. And I did. Wait, see, hey guys, everybody, this is hilarious right now, okay? Because he just said that I said that TJ Guy is better than Derek Moore. No, TJ said he's better than Derek Moore. Again, listen, bro. I have no problem with Wolverine fans coming in here, but if you're gonna try and call me out and be a part of the show, make sure you actually get your facts straight. Now, if you haven't already, everybody, please like, share, subscribe to the channel so you can see me bash Wolverines over the head like this more often. And let's get to the next segment. Now, we're going to do this before the season because things are going to change during the fall, depending on like if guys show that they're better, depending if guys are actually if guys get hurt, of course. But I want to go over the schedule real quick, and because I really think that I haven't been able to do this recently, and I'm really interested to see what you guys think about Ohio State's schedule. I want to know what you guys think will be the tough games. Actually, if you look in the poll, not the poll, but the question in the chat, I asked right there, what do you think the 4 toughest games are going to be for Ohio State this season? I think toughest are most important. But I'm going to bring up the schedule here and share it with you all so we can look at it together because we are a family here and I don't want to do it by myself. So, Ohio State schedule, of course, we all know what it starts off with. We got Texas. Texas comes to Columbus. This is the second time since 2000 that this has happened. I think, and it's the 4th time since 2000 that Ohio State and Texas have played each other. Right now, and no, wait, it's the 4th. We played in 05, 7. Yeah, this is the 4th, and I think and they hold it 2-1. So, I've talked about this game plenty of times. This game, I think, is it's a measuring stick for both teams. And it's not to say that whoever loses this game, that they're gonna fall off of a cliff, right? I don't think that's gonna happen. But I do think this is the game where if you win it, you know that every game from then on out is very obtainable. Excuse me while I sip my coffee. I'm really interested in this game because, I'm really interested in this game to see what the trenches look like. Texas has had awesome defensive tackle development, even though and they're replacing a lot of their best defensive tackles last year. They brought in a lot of guys out of the portal, including Hero Canoe from Ohio State. Also on the offensive line, they have really good offensive linemen there. They also have great development at Texas. And shout out to my guy Matthew Miller over at Texas and the Voice College Football. You guys should go check them out too. But I'm and they've done some deals in Ohio State and Texas. I think they're really good quality, really good football talk. So yeah, be able to go check that out, everybody. But I am interested to see what that looks like for Texas with 3 of the 5 guys not having last snap counts. Also on the Ohio State side, you bring back that interior offensive line from the playoffs, but you bring it. But Austin Sarabell will be the right tackle this season. I'm going to assume that with Tegra at right guard. And then you have Ethan Anianwa over at left tackle, which is also it's a step in competition out of Rice, but I think he's going to be a really good player. I think he's has that dog mentality. But again, you're playing different competition in the Big Ten. You're going to go against guys like Dennis Sutton Jr., who we're going to talk about in a little bit, also for Penn State. But yeah, I like that. I'm really excited about that game. Of course, Ohio State's still the favorites. I think it's at I think Rich, I think it's at 1.5 or 2 right now. Oh yeah, Mike. I needed my coffee. I needed it. It's 7:46 right now, but I needed it. But yeah, really excited to see that. I definitely think that is going to be for me. That's the second toughest game on the schedule. For me right now, I'll say Penn State's first. Then the next game, we go to Grambling State. Let's be honest here. I'm first off, I'm hoping that Grambling State's band gets a chance, is able to perform in the horseshoe, because that's going to be the most entertaining part about that game. Now, nothing on that field between the hash marks is going to be entertaining. We're going to beat the dog-ish out of them. And listen, Ohio State has the best damn band in the land, but it ain't better than what Grambling State got. But I really look forward to seeing that. I really do. After that, we have the biggest in-state rivalry in college football. The Bobcats come to Columbus. Can't wait to see that. Going to be a nice family affair game. I do enjoy games like that. And then we take the long trip to the West Coast to go play Washington. This game I'm really interested to see because of DeMond Williams Jr., Jonah Coleman. I think it's going to be a top 5 offense in the Big Ten, I think at the least. I think that they have a lot going for them. They have really good wide receivers. Now, the thing for Washington is that they don't have a good defense, or they're not going to. The offensive line is going to be very questionable. They were all hurt last year. They weren't good last year. You bring them back this year. It's going to be like, okay, well, it's kind of like starting from point 1, right? So really interested to see what they look like. But I do think that offense is going to be able to move the ball. Jeb Fish, one of the best football coaches in the country, a great mind for the game. And I think Washington has a chance to be a playoff dark horse. I have them anywhere between 6 and 10 wins, 7 and 10 wins. I think they can get there. I think they can hit that. I have them at, I think, 9 and 3 or 8 and 4. So yeah, really interested to see what they can do there for that game. Next, Ohio State plays Minnesota. Minnesota, who I do think is going to be a pretty good team in terms of the Big Ten standards. I have them at 8 and 4 this season. But they do have one of the best, not just safeties, but football players in the country when it comes to Corey Perch. But he's only one guy, so that's that. After that, we go to Illinois, where I think Ohio State is going to win this game. And I think it's going to be one of those games where in the second half, Ohio State starts to pull away. I see a lot of people starting to down Illinois, and I'm not sure. They bring back, I think, 86% of the production from last season. They bring back the quarter. Like I have it right here. Returning quarterback plus good defense plus returning production plus a good coach equals success. Illinois is one of those teams that I think can really, really make put teams on notice. And I heard multiple times now. People keep saying, well, they were 5-1 in close games last year. Well, is that not what winning teams do? They win close games. And I think, again, returning quarterback, production, defense, good head coach. I think they do it again this year. The season's a little bit harder, but I think they can do it. I have a lot of confidence in Illinois. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I like what they have this season. I think in reality, they have a 2-game season, and it's at I think it's at Indiana, and then they have Ohio State. I think it's a 2-game season for them, but and there's a chance they can lose more games than that, of course. But I really like what they have at Illinois. I think at the worst they go 8-4. So right after that, we have Wisconsin. Um, we're probably more than likely going to get Ohio State legend fired or be a part of it in Luke. But it is what it is. But yeah, Wisconsin's not what they used to be, and honestly, that's sad because Wisconsin's been one of the best programs in college football, or most consistent programs in college football for the spanning over 20 years until he got there. So that's kind of sad to see. And then the game we're home against Penn State. Uh, yeah, Richie, I get that. Yeah, you're right. They did just extend them. They did. But I've also seen coaches get extended and get fired that next season. That has happened. But that you do raise a great point right there. That is true. That's a fact. So when it comes to Penn State, a lot of people um, keep saying that they're not picking Penn State because they just don't win at Ohio. They don't beat Ohio State, right? I hate that argument. And I know some of you guys might think that in here. Some people that may watch this in the comments might feel the same way, but I'm not. I will always say this. Last season, 5 seasons ago, and 10 seasons ago have no bearing on this current season. Penn State can go into Columbus and win that game. Now, do I think that's a bet you should make? Hell no. Hell no. I don't think you should. But when I look at Penn State, Drew Allen is a good quarterback to me, and I don't care what anybody says. He has had one of the best wide receiver units in college football over the last since he's been there. He has been able to get around that. Now, it's not to say that he doesn't have places where he can improve. He, of course, can. But you look at this year, he has what's his name? Trevor Pena, Kyron Hudson, Devontae Ross. This is going to be a good wide receiver unit. One of the better ones in college football. Definitely one of the better ones in the Big Ten. Top 3 in the Big Ten, or top 4 in the Big Ten. I would say it will go Ohio State, Oregon, USC, and then Penn State. I think those are the only 3 I would put ahead of their wide receiver unit. Also, they have Luke Reynolds, 5-star tight end last year, who's there this year, who's a freshman last season, got some time behind the best tight end in the country last year. So I think they're gonna be fine. They got one of the best, like a top 3 offensive line, the best running back duo in college football. I think for anyone to sit here and their defense, I think is gonna take a step back. They still have Zane Durant, they still got AJ Harris, Dennis Sutton. But I think their defense, it's not as talented as it has been. Also, some Penn State fans don't want to talk about this, but yes, usually in the first season under Jim Knowles, the defense isn't where it should be. It's a very complicated defense to learn, but I do think they could win that game. It's still Big Ten football. It's still Ohio State, Penn State at the end of the day. Now, I think Ohio State benefits is that where the game is. If this game was early in the season, I wouldn't pick Ohio State to win that game, but it's right after the midpoint, and I think it's after a bye week too. So yeah, it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. So yeah, the Penn State game, which I do think that's going to be the toughest game for Ohio State this season. After that, Purdue, and then you got UCLA. Nico comes to Columbus. He gets to have his head stomped in again by the Buckeyes. UCLA is not a talented team. It just is what it is. That's not a talented team. I don't have a lot of confidence in what they can do this season. I do think they can probably get to 7 or 8 wins at max, but I just don't think that's a good team. The Fighting Schianos over at Rutgers, the birthplace of college football, again, going to be another curb stomping, and then that leads us into the game. There's that national championship, I think it bought Ryan Day some time. Probably about 3 years for me until I have to see him at least get to another national championship at the max. But at this point now, it's about beating that team up north. And it's not that he can't do it; he's done it before. And truth be told, I think we're going to win this year. I really do believe it. Um, and I usually do most years. 2023, I was a little bit iffy. I was a little. I'm not gonna lie to you. In 2023, I was on the edge of that one. But I really do believe that that game, Ohio State doesn't have a Michigan problem. Ryan Day has a Michigan problem, and I think that it's clear. It's clear as day. Shout out to my boy Cam Truther on X. He talked from Best Day in Media. Like he talked about this, and he got pretty passionate about it, talking about this in the space today, and I agree with him. For some odd reason, Ryan Day loses his damn mind in that game. Texas spread the ball, spread the field out, attacked him downfield. Oregon did the same, and for some odd reason, he chose not to. And then, and like, let's be honest here. I think we can all attest to this. It was crazy watching us lose that game, and then watching us curb stomp Tennessee and Oregon. Like it was honestly weird to watch. Like as fun as it was to watch, as awesome as it was to watch, it was completely insane. This is a big year for him. I don't think if he were to lose this year, I don't think it puts him on the hot seat. You're not like this isn't a Ed Orgeron situation, right? This isn't a Gene Chizik situation, right? Ryan Day is a really good football coach, but it's imperative this year that he does it. Of course, the Wolverines this season, their offensive line is going to improve from last season. They still have a problem at left tackle. They still don't know who's going to be. More than likely, going to be Evan Link. I do know Blake Frazier has been challenging there. I'm not sure why Andrew Sprague hasn't. But I actually think Andrew Sprague is a really good player. They are going to have one of the best running back units in college football with Justice Hayes, and Jordan Marshall, who was Mr. Football in Ohio, Gatorade Player of the Year. Of course, we all know about Bryce Underwood, freshman quarterback out of the state of Michigan. By that time, we should be seeing the best version of him this season. So, because that's why the game is the game, and the game is placed where it is. You want the best of the best. You want everyone at their best. That's usually when it is for Ohio State and the university up there. Their defense will be pretty good this season. I am very interested to see what they have at corner and what they have at nickel. I do understand that nickel's position is a bit is a struggle for them right now because they don't have a lot of depth there. I am interested to see what the drop off is for them when it comes to defensive tackle coming. You have your two best defensive tackles on one team in your school's history, and Rayshon Benny Rayshon Benny's a damn good player, but after that, it's gonna be really interesting to see what they do there. So yeah, it's the game is the game. Really looking forward to this upcoming season. I think it's gonna be there's some fun games again. Like the UCLA game. Maybe I'm crazy wrong here. I don't think since 2000, the last 25 years in my lifetime, I've never seen Ohio State play UCLA. So and then also, I think it's awesome that we have been able to play Texas as much as we've had over the last 24 years, 25 years. It's the fourth time, and every time we play them, it has always been a big moment game. So this is, it's another one of those. I can't wait. So Jam here. By the way, everyone, again, please like the video if you haven't already. But Jam OSU says, I think there are actually 5 games. I included Washington with Illinois, Penn State, the team up north, and obviously Texas. I agree. D'Angelo, he says, I'm a Michigan fan. I believe OSU will beat Texas. There's a lot of Wolverine fans that do. I know most will say different, but so I respect that. Rob Farber says going to be a Grambling versus Southern game in my college football bucket list. I actually can't wait. I actually might I have no problem going to that game. I would literally go to that game just to watch the halftime performance, but that would only be if Grambling is performing. I don't trust anyone secondary with our wide receivers and tight ends this season. To be honest, I agree with you, bro. I think that Max Clare is the X factor this season when it comes to Ryan Day's team and what's going to be Brian Hartline's offense. Chase said, "Get that before I call it pest control." Yeah, Wolverines are. You know what's funny, guys? Wolverines don't exist in the state of Michigan. You know, this is a fun fact. Aaron says having McCord and Will our QB off. Having McCord and Will QB our offense the last couple of years really crippled our explosive. Yes, that is a fact. I think Julian Sand. I'm really happy that he's not getting a lot of talk right now because I think as the season goes on, a lot of people are going to find out that he's still that guy. He's the guy that everybody thought he was coming out of high school. See, can't stand Burt, but glad they are doing well. Friend of mine is one of the strength coaches. Dope. See. Oh, we got another one. Eric Rifle, go blue. Yep. There we go. D'Angelo says Penn State sucks. Yeah, but y'all went 8-5 last year, so I don't think you are in position to say that. Aaron, they just got one. They just got to run with those two running backs, and that's not enough. But as I was saying though, they don't just have running backs. They have Luke Reynolds. They have those three wide receivers. Oh yeah, and they have Andy Kotelnicki calling plays. Now the problem is Andy Kotelnicki does run a gimmicky offense. That is a fact. But he's still a good offensive coordinator. I'm telling you, I think they're gonna be good. Sharice Armstead again. Screw you, Blue. We need to be ready, or we'll be. Yes. Yes. Look, guys. Like at the end of the day, we have to understand. And let me know, Jamie. I think you're talking about Penn State here. If not, I'm going to take it to Penn State. We can't go into that game. Well, we're fans, okay? We can do this, but Ohio State can't go into that game thinking they're just going to win that game because it's Penn State. They cannot do that. If James Franklin was able to beat Urban Meyer, though it was off a block kick, but if he was able to beat Urban Meyer, please believe me, he can beat Ryan Day. See, Richie says, I also think they're aware of their schedule is insane, Garrison. That's okay. Yeah. Aaron says Penn State can always beat Ohio State. Yeah, bro, it's crazy. I think so since Penn State last beat Ohio State, I think it's three times Penn State has had double-digit leads in the fourth quarter and has given it up every single time. Every single time. I count Penn State as a rival. We had this conversation here before already, but I think that the game between Penn State, these games between Penn State and Ohio State are much closer. Like, we're not going out there and just dog walking them. That hasn't really happened, right? So yeah, we could definitely. Yeah, Richie, I don't get it either. Like, let's be honest here. There's probably maybe less than 10 programs that Drew Allen wouldn't start for. He would start for Michigan today. He'd probably start for Ohio State today. No, he would start for Ohio State today. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get the hate for him, man. I really don't. Let's see. Aaron says Penn State just is never better than us because of the system and familiarity with coaching. I can agree with that. And I would say that. I would say this. They I do think that Ohio State schematically is a bad matchup for them. I do agree with you on that, Aaron. That's not a bad point at all. You raise a great point right there. Rob Harper says, go look at the stats against Illinois, OSU, SMU, and Notre Dame. What I'll say is, again, I think people forget that when people know that you can't throw the ball to the outside and you are not a threat to throw the ball deep, and they know all you can do is give the ball to your running backs and to a tight end, it becomes very easy for a defense to lock in on that. So no, I get it, but man, I don't know, man. I think the guy gets more hate than he deserves. I think he gets more. Hey, D'Angelo, you are aware that even in 2023 with you guys didn't do this with Blake Corum? Just point that out. Just point that out, buddy. I don't know. D'Angelo, I want you to be part of the show, man, because you're a Wolverine, and I love when Wolverines come in here, but I need you to come with better takes than that, D'Angelo. You got to come better than that. So before we finish, everybody, I'm going to take a sip real quick. I love coffee. I actually drink that. I actually drink coffee to go to sleep. It's the craziest thing sometimes. I want to talk about Jack Sawyer's comments. He was on a podcast, Cameron Hayward's, and I should have it here. But he talked about, he said, in 23 and 24, he said they felt like the Wolverines clearly just won that game. And then he followed it up with talking about the game in 2023. I'm sorry, in 2022. And he talked about how it was about the play where they were running a screen play that they never ran before, and how they snuffed it out from the get go, and how they're like, man, like this game is kind of weird, kind of like what Greg Schiano said that same year. Right? He said, yeah, there's some weird things going on. Let me be clear, okay? I don't mind Jack Sawyer saying it. Wolverine fans are gonna Wolverine. They're gonna Wolverine. They're gonna go ahead and exasperate it. Make it more than what it really is, because they think they're gonna call Jack Sawyer soft. They're gonna call him whatever they want to call him. At the end of the day, he's a national champion. But I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that. And I get it. He's asked the question, but lie. Like I don't care how you really feel about it, man. You don't gotta say it. I have been one that has continuously said, I think that whatever wrongdoing they did, at the most it contributed at the most probably 3 to 5%, and that's on the high end. So I'm looking somewhere around 2%, right? Now, at the end of the day, does it matter the percentage? No. If it affects the game, it affects the game. But now I'm not about to go out here and push that hammer agenda. If you want that, you can go find that on other channels. But I don't know, man. Like I'm not mad at him for saying it. I just think that at some point, man, you just gotta let it go. There are a lot of Wolverines that went in their career without beating Ohio State. Now, granted, you are the last. Ohio State has been a long time since the 90s that Ohio State has had a class of guys, maybe even the 80s. But it's been a long time since Ohio State has had a class of guys go without beating the team up north. It's been a very long time, and you guys did that. But I do believe that I've never heard Jake Butt say anything. Never heard Jake Long say anything. Mike Hart, Chad Henne. They took it on the chin. Actually, no. Mike Hart didn't. Mike Hart didn't take it on the chin. He actually said some foul things about Jim Tressel. But I just think at some point you have to let it go. I don't think it's healthy to keep talking about cheating out. Look, man, Ohio State lost those games. In 2021, we couldn't stop the run. No, we got, we literally got the game to it was an 8-point game. So it's a touchdown, 2 points, with 4 minutes left, and you guys choose not to stop the run. They ran it down your throats. Didn't force them to punt one time in the second half. 2022, Jim Knowles goes out there and blitzes his happy ass off. Mike Valenti of 97.3 the ticket up in Detroit, he used to call Don Brown Dr. Blitz. That's what he was in that game alone. Jim Knowles was Dr. Blitz, and even though Michigan fans are going to tell you different, I don't think J.J. McCarthy had a great game that day. He was still 12 for 24, throwing 50%. But we got hit over the top. That's what happened. And when you continuously get hit over the top, and mind you, I think people forget We saw Ryan Day do stupid shit, like going out there right after halftime. Out of halftime, Ryan Day runs the ball, 3rd and 5, runs the ball. It's stupid. So like then you move on to 2023. I think they were just a better team, and I think people forget just because you have more talent doesn't mean you're a better team. That game is what it is. Now in 2023, was that game obtainable to win? You're damn right it was. Ohio State could have won that game. In hindsight, it's 2020. But when I look back, I'll shout out to my boy Bryce Sack. Even after he's a Wolverine fan, we had Scarlet and Blue Shirt together. Even after the national championship, he came to me and said, "Garrison, you guys were the second best team in the nation. Ohio State barely lost that game. We could have won it, but that's the way the cookie crumbled. We lost to a 15-0 team. That's what happened. And then you look at last season. So no, I listen. So I get again, like I when it comes to this whole fiasco about the Wolverines and the counter stallions of it all, I think that yes, there's going to be some type of punishment. I don't know what it's going to be. I have my own speculations of what it should be or what it will be, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about cheating being the reason why they won those games. There are real football reasons I can point to on that football field and on the sidelines and in Ryan Day's head on why Ohio State lost those games. Now, with that being said, I think we're putting boot and ass this year. I really do. I can't wait. I think we're like we say in the Navy, we're gonna rip them a new one. I could honestly see that happening because I think that there's a lot of things that Wolverine fans are overlooking on their team. And anytime I've seen Ohio State go against a freshman quarterback, we tear him to shreds. We tear to shreds. I mean, I'm gonna read this real quick. Aaron says, "But Garrison, if the offense is on the field longer, then the defense doesn't have to be exposed like that." You're right, but I think we gotta remember, like maybe I think you're talking about in 21. We threw the ball like that because if you run the ball, you're wasting the clock. Our defense couldn't stop their defense or their offense. It just couldn't. So I think the reason why we had to go out there and throw the ball is because it gives us less. It moved the ball down the field more. We were able to listen, man. If I got Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and JSN, I'm throwing the ball too. But we had to do that to make sure that we extended the game and not let them shorten it. So I do understand what you're saying is not false. I'm simply just saying we had to do that, and we were one dimensional that game. And mind you, we're playing a freshman running back in Travion, who had a great season, but he wasn't who he was in that game. And then this right here, and people, yeah, and I do agree. People, Aaron, let me know if you agree with me on this. I don't, from 2022 to 23, I don't believe Ohio State lost a single game. I'm sorry, any loss that Ohio State had between 22 and the 23 season, I don't put any of that on CJ Stroud. I don't put that Oregon loss on CJ Stroud in 22. I don't put that Wolverine loss on CJ Stroud in 22. I don't put that Georgia loss on him in 22. And I damn sure don't put that game on. Like, he had 2 picks. Both of them were dropped. Both of them were drop passes. I don't put any game that Ohio State has ever lost on CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud was the glue that kept us together in those seasons. So yeah, that definitely happens. See, Rob Harvey says Michigan wins the 20 because of JJ's ability to keep plays alive and his legs, especially on third down. Yeah, dude was legitimately the best third down quarterback in college football, and it wasn't close. Rod, I could imagine how many times did we have them? It was kind of like the Georgia game. No, yeah, it was kind of like the Georgia game in 23 because it happened in 23 also. And the same thing happened against the Wolverine team. We had them at 3rd and long plenty of times. We couldn't stop it. So yeah, that's a great point. And yes, see, it's funny. I think even with that loss in 22, I still think CJ Stroud deserved that Heisman over Bryce Young. But everybody, that's going to be the show tonight. Again, I appreciate you all for coming in here. Again, you guys are like my family here. I love talking football with you all. Again, be sure to show up on Thursday for the call-in show. And again, you don't just have to call in. You come into the chat, send your questions. We'll love to see what you guys have there. Also, if you're just catching this and you this video, let it go in the comments. Let me know how you guys feel about all the topics today, whether that be Jack Sawyer's comments, the fall camp, and the players that you're also looking for. Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith, Sonny Styles, and Max Clare being PFF preseason All-Americans. A lot of things that we're talking about. And also, what do you think the top 4, top 5 games are for Ohio State this season, or the toughest ones are, or the most important ones are to you? Whatever you want to say or look for. But again, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, everybody. And as always, OHIO.